resonant, isn't it? What was like in the recording? I get to get a gavel. Wouldn't that be awesome? Almost like big wigs like the House of Lords. Where is it? No. Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of Advanced Programming with Java here at Portland State University. So this is like halfway through the course. I can't believe it. I thought we were like at least at week 6, but I guess not. But this is good. So I think as we saw last week, we're we've ramped up nicely. We've been talking a lot about how to just do plain old Java programming, and now in the second half, we're starting to see some more advanced stuff, some stuff with the web. Here's what I'd like to do tonight. First of all, we'll start off with some Q&A about Project 3 and Project 4. Then I think we'll start looking at Project 5, and then dedicate the rest of the class to that kata. We got it here kind of late last time. I don't know if I want to spend, I don't know if it's effective to spend that much time in class tonight. So I think what we'll do is we'll spread our discussion of the GWT project over this week and next week. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. First off, so wow, a lot of stuff new this week, huh? Isn't it? I bet you guys are busy. Oh yeah, and it's midterms week. Sorry. So any questions about, first of all, the cones? I know there's some problems submitting. I'm sorry about that. That was kind of messed up. Looks like people got everything worked out. Any thoughts on the cones now that it's all said and done? Any feedback for me or?
I've seen that there are a lot of other cones in different languages. Can you speak to any of the quality of the other ones?
I can't say that I've used other cones, although I've heard good things about the Ruby cones. I think they were like really popular, and yeah.
Made it sound like those the kind of original set.
Yeah, I think Matty B references them. Yeah, I can't say that I've ever. I can't say I've ever learned a language that way. So no, I can't recommend any other ones. But if you're like, oh hey, I want to learn JavaScript, that's a place to start. So some people, they can like read a book about a language and then feel proficient in it. Other people will just like stare at a whole bunch of like production code and will figure out all the language idioms. Cones is another tool that you can use. And what I've found is that language communities, after a language has been around for a little while, someone will develop a set of cones, and usually they're done in a broad enough way that you have people that are both expert in the language, but then also people that are new enough to the language that they're approachable. So that's been my experience. Anything else in the cones? Would you recommend that I do the cones again in the future for other students? I'm seeing some nods. Yeah? Excellent. Is that a question?
Just a point of feedback. I'm also using them as reference. It would be like to go back and look at, I can't remember how to do that, but we did a cone about it as I'm writing my program. So I'm finding it useful even after they've been completed.
Right, as a reference. Okay. Good deal. Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, someone mentioned that the I/O one was a good way to learn how to deal with files. Good. I'm glad that that makes sense. It's part of what they're there for. Yeah. Okay. Project 3. How did Project 3 go? With the pretty printing and the sorting and the comparator, comparable, all that good stuff. Seeing some nods. Okay. So yeah, saw lots of submissions. So I think people got it working and people feel good about it. Any thoughts on that? Any feedback that you'd like to share? Any observations about what you did or how you approached it that you'd like to share? Anything still puzzling you or wondering, did I do it right? That kind of stuff. Nope. Glad it's over? Okay, good. Okay. Project 4. So last week we assigned it. I sort of went through all the pieces, parts of the archetype. And I realized that Project 3 was just due tonight. First off, any questions about Project 4? Anything that's still confusing you, or yeah?
So the start time and end time, when you print or when you encapsulate it, should both the start time and end time be inside those time frames, or just the start time?
Sorry, what?
So for the search where you say everything that's contained.
Yeah, between, I said either inclusive or exclusive last week. I don't remember what I said. Doesn't matter because I don't test it. So, but I think that answers your question.
It's not just. Yeah, I was just saying that the start time and then say.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right. So do I? So if I have the range, does the entire appointment need to be within that range, or is it just the start time? I believe. occurred. Yeah, that's not very useful. Begin. So I could clarify the assignment. But in the example, I say, oh, only search for appointments that begin on that date. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Okay. So, yeah. I haven't read this. Obviously. Yeah, the appointment. Okay, here, I'll make it a little bigger so we can read it. So, yes. So, okay. So, the appointment should begin on or after November 1st. And end on or before November 30th. So it contains inside. So if you're thinking about it like yeah. Sheesh. Okay. Okay. Any other questions about the assignment? Okay. Have people had a chance to start digging in to the code? I'm seeing a couple of yeses, a couple of nos. Do you feel that you know where to start? A couple of, yeah.
For those of you who haven't started, can you tell us where to start?
For those of you, yes. For those of you who are about to start. Yeah, how about we spend a little bit of time now. So last time it was really all about just showing you all the pieces of parts. I'll maybe start, let's time box it to like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. We'll talk about sort of how you get started with things, because what you get is this this working prototype of putting these key value pairs up there. But how does that really help you? How do you go from there? Which is the big first step, right? The big first step is sort of is understanding what's there now to how do I take that and get something that I want. So let's spend a few minutes there. Yeah. All right. Twist my arm. Okie dokie. So okay, here I am in my project 4. You know what let's see here. Okay, so I've got project 4 and it's got all these pieces, parts, and everything like that. And so let's quickly review where we're at. We'll sort of go front to back. We start with this project 4 class. Get rid of this down here. So project 4. Project 4 has the main method. Parses the command line, and this command line is this pretty simple thing where you put like key value pairs on it. And then it so it does parses the command line and then uses this appointment book REST client that has these methods like get values, which uses an inherited method to make a get call to a URL and passing it some arguments. Okay.
So the keys, we're not doing any kind of like the keys. We're treating these keys as strings for now. We're not doing any kind of encapsulation at the main within main to then kind of use those as some object. Like we're not like using like a date object.
So for the very simple toy application that comes out of the box, everything's a string. For your assignment, it's up to you what you want to use. You could actually create an appointment object for from the command line and then send it to this client, which then breaks it apart into strings and puts together the URL and posts that stuff to the URL. That'd be one way of doing it. That provides a certain amount of abstraction around the fact that what you're doing is interacting with a URL. That'd be one way of going about it, or it'd probably be okay then just pass in some strings and put all the logic for putting together a URL based on some string parameters and stuff here in the REST client class. Some options there. So this is what's happening on the client side. On the server side, so when the call to the URL is made, your servlet is hit, and the servlet has two methods: do get for handling HTTP get and do post for handling HTTP post. Right now, we've got a very simple application that basically goes through and just reads the key parameter. And then we'll either write a particular the value of that key if that key exists, or if the key was provided. Otherwise, I'll write all the mappings. And we went through that kind of in gory detail last time. And I hope the most important thing that I wanted you to take away from that is what the roles of all these various Java objects and classes are in all of this. So that's the toy application that's there today. When it comes to your project, however, there's a whole bunch of other stuff to do. So there are two URLs that you support. One starts with sorry, which is /appointments owner name equals the name of the owner, and then if you do a get on this or return all the appointments using the pretty printer, if you send a post here, then it takes some HTTP parameters for owner description, begin time, and end time. And that will create a new appointment book if it doesn't exist. And then you've got the query one. As an example, let's see what it'll take to implement this get functionality here. Let's start with that. Yeah. Although it's important to note that if you look at the functionality provided by the command line, you don't actually call. You never use the get on this URL in the command line. Instead, you need to support it because I'm going to test it using a different tool hitting the URL. Yeah.
So when we perform a get request, the class is appending all those parameters in a string after encoding them to the end. But when you do a post, it actually puts the parameters in the body or the header.
Yes.
So is there a point in having the question mark owner equals name when we're doing a post? Since we already have the owner in the request parameter as well? There?
You're probably right. Alternatively, I suppose if you think of like the resource, it'd be like appointment / the name would probably be the name of the resource. That might be a little bit more proper. And actually, I should probably fix that in the future. So that would be like appointment / owner name. That would be like that would be the resource.
For both.
Both. Yeah, but for both. Good point. Nice. But yeah, for this assignment, yeah, we'll do it this way.
So in that case, do you want us to use the URL's owner name to ensure that it matches up with the post's owner name in the request parameters as well?
You don't have to validate that, although I'd expect that your client would be consistent in that way, that it would.
When we use then,
Actually, for the post, no. The only, yes, the only way I will test the post is through your command line tool. I won't hit it. I won't hit the URL.
Right.
Yeah, I need to tighten that up though in the future. Thanks. Okay, so let's figure out how we can implement this first thing. So, okay, a get of this URL returns all the appointments. So let's see what we've got now. Okay, oops. Oh, bad Dave. Okay, so get Portland State. Nope. PSU. Get Portland State Java. We want some 2016, and we want the appointment book. Okay, so right now I want to do the Maven Jetty run. So this will run the appointment book application on port 8080. It's all started up. Yep. So let's just use this tab. We'll say localhost. Oops. We will spell it right. Appointment book. Appointments. Okay, cool. So it says this is where we're at right now. It contains 0 key value pairs. So okay, so where do we start? Well, right now my appointment book servlet keeps this map of string to string. These are the key value pairs. Well, one thing I'm going to want to change is I'm going to want to have that. Oh, sorry. I'm going to have that. Well, actually, sorry. Wait a second. What am I doing here? I want to be test driven. Yes. So I don't care about the implementation. I should go and look at the test. So let's see here. Test. Appointment book servlet test. Okay, so a bunch of this stuff I probably want to get rid of. Actually, I probably want to get rid of all of it, although I'll keep it here because I want to copy it and have it do other things. So, yeah. So I'll change this to be, let's see here. Let's just do something simple that will work. So, get on servlet. pretty prints built-in appointment book. So for the purposes of demonstration, sort of getting started, making sure that all the plumbing works and stuff like that, I'm just going to like have my servlet create sort of a stock, a built-in. What's the right word for it? Pre-canned. There you go. Not built-in. Pre-canned appointment book, because I won't have the post working yet. So okay, I'll create my servlet. I have the request and the response. Use these mock things, and so let's see here. When so to represent my request, let's see here. I will say when a request dot get parameter with the value owner is called, then return pre-canned owner. So, oops. Oh, then return pre-canned owner. So what I'm doing here, so this is that mock stuff. So I'm basically saying, hey, create this pretend HTTP servlet request that will say, hey, when I ask for the owner parameter, return this string pre-canned owner. And what this is doing is simulating hitting that URL with owner equals pre-canned owner. Right? So right now it doesn't do anything, and that's fine, but I'm mocking it out here. Okay, so then also when you get the writer, return the print writer. That's really great. I'm going to do the get. So here I am calling the servlet directly. Remember, this is that kind of wacky unit test that doesn't actually start up a web container or anything. It just calls the code directly. And so we're using these mock objects to figure things out. So I'm going to have let's see here. So what I want is like the pretty print output of this. I want the pretty print output of the appointment book. None of this, of course, is implemented, so I need to do some stuff like the following. I'm going to say, well, one of the things that's going to be in there is the owner name. So let's see here. This is going to be owner name, and so one of the things that should be printed is the owner name, and then I'm going to have some pre-canned appointment information. But let's just start here, because maybe this is good enough. And return and verify that it was an okay thing to do. Okay, so then let's run this one test. Should fail spectacularly. Great. It says, let's make this a little bigger. How do I make it bigger? Can I make it bigger easily? No. It says it expected pre-canned owner to be called print line. Instead, it got the string server contains 0 key value pairs. Okay, so far so good. That's what I expect. Okay, it's red. Okay, now I can like write some code and make this work. Okay, so what am I going to do here? Here, oops, I'm going to go to the appointment book servlet. Now my get method, I still want to return the text plain, but now I want to do the following. So instead of getting the key parameter, I'm going to get the owner parameter. Owner. And yeah, if owner equals null, I'm going to have to do something at some point, but I don't have a test for it. So instead, I'm going to do the following. So now I want to get appointment, appointment book equals get appointment book for owner. Got lots of red here. It doesn't have an appointment book. Yeah, I don't want to use the one from the other one. I will create my own appointment book class here. I'll put it in the source. Nope, I put it in the wrong place. That was the. That's fine. Crap, what did I do? I want to create a class here. I put it in the integration test, which was bad. I wanted the source main right there. Oops, what was it complaining about? That there's already one? Yeah. pardon me, where the integration tests are. Integration tests here, appointment book, delete that one. Good enough. Now this appointment book is a little happier. Extends abstract appointment book of type appointment. Oh, yeah, there's not an appointment yet. Create an appointment book. Nope. Oh, it keeps wanting to put it in this other source directory. That's bad. Huh. Appointment says it's complaining about some stuff. Make appointment book, send abstract appointment book. Good deal. Implement some methods. Implement all that good stuff. Hooray. Okay, and then say, okay, I want to get appointment book for owner. So I'm back here on my servlet. I'll create a method here. And now, instead, I'm going to change my data. I'm going to say that this is now my appointment books. And instead of mapping a string to a string, it's going to map the owner of the appointment book to the appointment book. Okay, and now my get appointment books is going to return this dot appointment books dot get owner. Okay, and now so I'll eventually have some error handling, which is all about if the owner doesn't exist or if the appointment book doesn't exist. But now I'll say pretty print book. And this is when I want to have my is appointment book pretty printer? Is that the name of it? It's pretty printer? Okay. And this will be here. Extends text dumper. Oh, interesting. I don't have. That's the wrong text dumper. Huh. I don't have. I should have those dependencies, shouldn't I? Projects are source dependencies. So is it not called text dumper? What am I missing here? Maybe it doesn't know. Okay. Thank you. There we go. Awesome. Oh, yeah, do that. Okay. One more thing. So, okay, so my pretty printer. I just remembered something. So going back to my servlet, which is why is it off the screen? So annoying. My pretty printer needs to take a print writer for it to print to. Create parameter of type. No, type print writer. Oh, even new. That's smart. And then here, I'm going to have, this is going to be request.getWriter. No, a response, sorry, response.getWriter. And then I need to add the create constructor there. .writer equals pw. Create a field. That's awesome. And now, okay, so wait, what is he doing here? Okay, so let's walk through this again. So my doGet method, the first thing I need to do is ask the file the request, give me the owner parameter. Gives me that. Then I will look for an appointment book for that owner. I will then pretty print that appointment book to the print writer. So the way I do that is I make a pretty printer, and then I will say pretty.dump appointment book. Okay. And add exception. Sure, what can I throw? IO exception? Sweet. Okay. Good deal. Okay, so let's run my test. Oh, there's still some red. What is it complaining about? Oh, my post method. We'll just comment all this stuff out for the time being. I don't even know if we're going to get there or not. Anything else that's red? Yeah, there's something else. Right value, not used, safe delete. Yeah, sure. Another one, not used, safe delete. Sounds good. Get value for key case. So that's not used. Don't need that anymore. Get value for key. We'll just, oops. Let's have this throw an exception or something. Okay. So now everything's compiling. Let's run our test again. See where we're at. Nope, something doesn't compile. Oh yeah, right, I forgot to finish this class. Okay, so implement all the methods. That's swell. Run again. Okay, blows up. Said wanted but not that. Oh, I get that same error. Actually, there were no interactions with this mock. That is true. I didn't write anything to my print writer yet. Okay, so go back to the appointment. Servlet test. Do you get pretty print? Dump my pretty printer. Yeah, I don't do anything. So I expect that pw.println, oops, writer .println is called with book.getOwnerName. Okay. Let's run it. Blew up. Null pointer exception. Oh. Oh, I wonder which one's null. Sorry, what was the question? There was something?
We don't have those fields. There's no one there.
That's true. But I bet here's the point. Here's the thing that broke. Let's debug it. Book is null. Oh yeah, I didn't create a new appointment book yet. Okay. Okay, so then let's continue on. Watch it blow up. Okay, so now I need to put in some of that canned data. So let's see here. Is there a constructor for this thing? Public appointment book servlet. Nice. I can create a constructor. There's a place called super, and now I'm going to put in some. I'm going to say create canned appointment books. Appointment book. I'm sorry, they were pre-canned. It's canned before the canning. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new appointment book. Book equals new appointment book. And then I'm going to say this dot appointment books. Did I spell something wrong? Yes, the extra P is for awesome. The appointment books dot put. And here's where I'm going to have that name, that, what was it, pre-canned something or other, pre-canned owner. Appointment book. Oops, lost myself here. Go back to my servlet. Thank you. Nice. Book. And yeah, you're probably already saying, wait a second, you haven't created the owner. That's fine. We'll just call it owner. And we will, sure, this will be in the constructor. So we'll add the constructor, string owner, this dot owner equals owner. Get owner name. Return this dot owner. Okay. We've implemented some more, so let's try it again. I probably should have run my test again, but whatever. Oops, still doesn't like it. Wanted but not invoked this. However, there were other interactions with this mock. Well, that looks right. Did I spell it wrong or something? Ah, print instead of print line. Okay, very good. Eagle eyes. Okay, so we'll make this one smaller. Right, I must have messed up something in my pretty printer, and I did. I should have done print line. Okay, once more with feeling. Oh, all sorts of things. Wanted but not invoked. Oh yeah, we expected it to be at set status to 200. Right, we haven't set the status to 200. That's good. So let's go back to that get method, the do get, and then response.set status to okay. Run our test. Woo! What did we just do? Okay. So we started out with our test, and so the thing I like about the mocks is that it lets you focus on Java for a while and not so much like on building the URL and everything like that, because we'll do that next. But this sort of says, okay, great. The logic, the Java logic of this of the servlet is correct and can be verified. So our test looks a little wonky because it's using all these mock objects, right? So let's walk through it again. We're saying, okay, I'm going to create this like mock response. I'm going to send to my servlet, and the mock request. So the request, we're going to like program. We're going to train it to say, hey, when you're asked for the owner parameter, then return this pre-canned owner name thing. And then also, when the request is asked for its writer, return this print writer that we've mocked out here. And so we're going to call the doGet method. So this actually calls the code. And this is, okay, after you've called the code under test, verify that owner name was that the print line on the print writer was invoked with owner name. So this is the same print writer I think is passed all the way down through to my pretty printer, and your pretty printer too. And that the response object had its set status method called with scok. Okay, and that was the test that I started with. Now look at the implementation. What does the implementation do? Well, it does some servlety things, like sets the content type to text, because all you're doing is returning some text. And then I say, okay, I'm going to get the owner, because my URL, there's a parameter called owner. I'm going to get the appointment book for that owner. I'm going to pretty print that appointment book, and I'm going to set the status on the response to OK. And then things like get appointment book for owner. Well, this is pretty simple stuff. It's got a map or anything like that. And then pretty print is just doing appointment book stuff, just like you did in Project 3, right? It's using your pretty printer, and it's using your appointment book, and it's calling dump. So it's sort of a mix of the old and the new, right? There's your domain classes. There is the logic of your appointment book application. That hasn't changed, right? Now, you saw me like hack it all together, and of course, it's halfway implemented and things like that. But as long as the tests don't fail, it's fine. And then there's like all the servlety stuff. But if you can keep the two separate, maybe it's not so bad. There's the servlety stuff, and then there's like the mock unit test stuff. Okay, so now we've got like this unit test working. Let's see what it's like when it's so that's the unit test, and a whole bunch of stuff is broken, so I'm not going to push quite yet. But I want to check this stuff in. Okay, I'm sorry. I've been doing a lot of talking, and you've probably been doing a lot of okay, so that's how I think I should explain it to you. What questions do you have? Yeah.
In the test, we are explicitly invoking the doGet method. Right?
Yes, in the
How
test.
does that get invoked when Project 4 interacts?
So this is all in the right. So this is invoking this doGet method, the servlet method under test. Right, you're invoking it in test, and you're invoking it outside of a servlet engine because it's just a JVM. Right? It's just IntelliJ running it. So your question is like, okay, what happens in the real world? We'll get to that next. We'll take a look at that. Any other questions or comments on what I did here? No? Okay. Okay, so let me commit this real quick. So implemented a simple unit test, unit test to exercise the real get functionality of the appointment book servlet. Okay. So this is testing it in isolation. Let's see. Let's make sure. Let's make it work in the from the server. And this will be a little bit more difficult. Well, we'll see. Okay. So we just changed the servlet to we just changed the servlet to handle the GET request. And now let's take a look at the integration tests that works with the client. So the client is some Java code that wraps all of the calls to the URLs. This runs on the client side. This will run as part of your command line application. And it provides OK Java API over all of these HTTP requests. So a lot of this stays the same. You have the host and the port. This is the integration test. Let's see here. I think I'm just going to blow most of this stuff away because it'll all fail because I changed things. Okay, so test 0, remove all mappings. Let's try that. So let's say, let's see here. I guess we don't need to do that. Let's see here. So this would be a similar test, which is invoking get with just owner name, pretty prints owner name, or just owner parameter. Okay, and so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to augment we're going to change our REST client. Instead of working with just the that toy application, the key value pairs, now we're going to start doing appointment book type things with it. So we don't want to remove all the mappings. Instead, we want to say pretty print appointment book. And it's going to take an owner name. So the owner name is that pre-canned owner. And when we do that, we're going to assert that the content that was returned, well, first of all, it has a return code of 200, and then also that the content contains string, this is going to be the owner. So this is a different kind of test, right? This is an integration test. So when I run this test, it expects that the servlet be running. So I'm going to create this method here in the appointment book. It's going to take a response. It's going to say owner. And this is the code under test, so I'm not going to implement it just yet. Oops. Unsupported operation exception not implemented yet. Oops, throw a new. There we go. Okay, so I could run this from Maven, but other things are broken and I want to fix them right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart my Jetty server. Actually, I'm restarting my Jetty server, yeah, so I'm going to have my Jetty server running in the background. It runs on port 8080, which is going to be the port that this thing runs on. And so then when I, well, let's see here. If I run this right now, I'm probably going to get some sort of unimplemented exception, right? Yeah, unsupported operation exception. Okay, let's go ahead and implement it. Actually, first, let's go and hit this URL again. Okay. So I hit the URL. That tells me that my servlet is running and it has the behavior that I expected that was implemented there by that JUnit test. So okay, I expect that it's running there. Now let's test accessing the same URL using my client. So I have my client integration test. I have my client, my appointment book REST client class. My pretty print appointment book is going to do the following. It's going to say return. I'm going to do get. So get is a method that's inherited from the superclass. This dot URL. Let's see, what does URL? There we go. And then plus question mark owner. Oops, equals owner. Oh no, wait, sorry. this URL, and then the parameter named owner is going to have the value of owner. And it's probably complaining because there are exceptions that need to be thrown. Okay, so I think that's right. So like get up here, yeah, this is like it used to be key value, and now it's owner. So now if I go back and I run my test, ooh, it passed. Say that again. What? Okay. Oh, yeah, that's not the one I wanted. Okay. So now I just changed my client. So this is doing like test-driven development on the client. So this is code that's there in the that'll be used by the main program. So the way to do that is I say, great, I'm going to call this code on my client, give it the owner that I'm looking for, make sure that I get a 200 back, and a string that contains that owner from the client. So this makes sure that the code that your main method is going to be able to use works. You guys understand the distinction between this test and the other test? Can someone repeat it back to me in a way that maybe is better than the way that I explained it?
This is being done on the client versus on the server.
This is being done in client code, and as we saw, what this thing hits is this Jetty server that's running over here. So now we got the two processes involved. We have like the unit test, which is running its own process, which is the client, to the servlet, as opposed to. So I'm going to quit this. So as opposed to the unit test, which I'm not running, nothing up my sleeve, not running the server. And when I run this thing, the same servlet code is invoked, but it's invoked in this JVM here, in the test JVM, the unit test JVM.
It's invoked while. Well, wait. What's that one's? That's the equipment.
Right. So this is the thing that creates the servlet explicitly, uses these mock objects to pretend like it's running inside, to give the impression,
Yes.
to trick it, for lack of a better word, right? To trick your servlet that, oh yeah, sure you're running inside a web container, but it's a lot faster because it's just a call. And then, so it creates these pretend request and response and print writer, invokes the code under test, which is the doGet method, which is what we implemented, and then verifies that yes, the mock objects were interacted with as we expect. I don't know. Was that effective? Do you have a better idea of how to get started now? Okay,
It's going to be a steep climb.
I think the first step will be the biggest step, honestly, right? And this is like why it's an order of magnitude more complex. You're dealing with more processes. You're dealing with this other API. Some of the skills that, while all the skills that you've learned up to this point will help you, there's some more that you have to do. But I think the most important thing is figuring out how to get your servlet up and running, and then how to use some of these, like the APIs provided by the REST client class to call the servlet. Yeah.
How do you support multiple URLs?
How do you support multiple UIs?
URLs.
Oh, URLs. Ah, okay. Good deal. Okay. Let's do. You mean like the other URL, like the? Yeah, sure. Let me commit this stuff off. So wrote an integration test that exercises the appointment book servlet when invoked by the appointment book REST client. Don't push. Okay, so implementing the other URL. Well, it's not actually a different URL because they're both /appointments. So really what you need to do is look for the presence of other parameters. All right. Let's see if I can. Sorry, 6:45. Let's see how. I wonder if I can implement post quickly. Okay, so we'll start here. Okay, I'm going to delete all of this old mapping code. No, not a lot. Okay, so now I'm going to say the following. Oops, I'm not going to say that. Okay, so I'm going to say post to server, post to servlet, post to servlet creates appointment. Creates appointment. Okay, I've got my servlet, I've got my request, I've got my response. Owner is going to be that. So there's going to be the owner parameter, but now there's going to be some other stuff. There's going to be what? There's going to be a description. Description. This is my description. There's going to be a begin time and end time. Begin time, and I'm not going to validate it. So 1/1/2016, 1 p.m. and end time. End time then returns 2 p.m. I love to count. Okay, and that's it. So that's the 4 request parameters. Let's see here. So when this thing is invoked with a do post, well, post doesn't have any output really. So we should just verify that this thing is SCOK, I guess. Right? Because when it posts, it doesn't. Nope, it doesn't return any output. It just returns the HTTP status code. So, okay. So let's try this. See where we're at. Actually, I really don't like that test because it doesn't really tell me anything. So what I really want, I think, is to basically do this thing again and then call the get method to pretty print it and make sure the right stuff was pretty printed, which is kind of gross. But I think it's what I'm going to have to do. Okay, so then because I post to it, and then I'm going to want to get to it, get from it. Oh, wait a second. No, I have a better way of doing this. So this is like all the mock stuff here, but you know what? I can sort of cheat, if you will, because I'm in a unit test. I can just say, give me the appointment book, servlet, book equals servlet dot get appointment book for owner. Owner name. It's going to complain because it's not public, but I can make it package local. And actually, I will annotate it with @visible for testing, so that I know I made it visible for a reason. And now I can just say assert that book dot get appointments dot size equal to. Okay, I need to import that. Stack import from Hamcrest equal to 1. Stack import method from Hamcrest. And appointment equals appointments dot get 0. Oh, really? Ugh. Fine. All sorts of things could blow up. I'm feeling lazy. Assert that appointment dot get description equal to, we're going to have description now. description. And we'll have start time and end time, begin time, whatever. Get begin time equal to begin time, get end time string equal to end time. Okay, see what I just did here? I took advantage of the fact it's like, oh, everything's all in the same JVM. I just said, hey, servlet, for test purposes, just let me get your appointments. So this way I don't need to invoke the get method again, because we already know that works. There's a different test for that. So here, I think I'm justified in cutting this corner. So let's run it, see where we're at. All sorts of things failed because, oh yeah, we don't really do much of anything yet. So our, I think our post method is pretty lame. Okay, so let's quickly go through and get the parameters that we want. So string owner name equals get parameter owner from the request. Appointment book equals get appointment book for owner. Well, yeah. Okay, stop. Not so fast. Description. Get parameter description. Begin time. Get parameter begin time. I'm using Command D to duplicate the line. End time equals end time. And now I want to say appointment book, appointment, sure. Appointment equals new appointment. I want to pass in the description, the begin time, and the end time. I'm going fast here, so there's better ways and cleaner ways of doing all of this. Instructor, blah, 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 blah. We'll come back to that. I want to say book.add appointment. And then let's response.set status code to SCOK. I need to go implement my appointment. So this dot description equals description. This dot begin time equals begin time. You can go through and create the field. Create the field. Super swell. Begin time. Create the field. String. This dot end time equals end time. This should all be familiar to you. Implement the getters. Return this dot begin time. String. Return this dot end time. String. Return this dot description. This dot description. Did we do everything? I think we did everything. So once again, if we go to the servlet, the post method actually, yeah, the post method really isn't that long. Not long yet. You'll have to add a bunch more, logic to it and everything like that. But you do servlety things like getting the parameter, and then you do appointment booky things like adding an appointment to an appointment book. And then we run our tests, see how we're doing. Yep, some method isn't implemented yet. Yes, the add appointment. This dot appointments dot add appointment. We'll create a field appointments. It is sure list of appointments. That's nice. New array list. Super swell. Start this again. Oops, something else. Get appointments. Not implemented yet. Okay. Return this dot appointments. Wow. Okay. Magically works. So again, okay. So we're setting up the magical mock objects, sending them to the post method. The post method logic is pretty straightforward. it just gets stuff out of the requests and the response, implements the appropriate logic, which here is very light, right? As you can imagine, there's more error checking that your code will need to do. There's more validation. What happens when there's not an appointment for that owner? All that good stuff. You can write tests for that, right, to validate all of that logic. But here we've got this. Okay, and so then I'm going to commit that. Implement creating an appointment using a post. Now I can't test this through the browser easily. I don't want to push. I can't test this through the browser just by hitting the URL because that doesn't get. I could use that that crazy HTML page. Where is it in the web app? Yeah, I guess this index.html. If you want to play around with HTML forms, you could have like input boxes and stuff like that. Some people have found that useful in the past. As a matter of fact, this HTML, or actually the idea for the HTML file, came from a student a couple years ago that said, "Hey, I was testing my servlet, and it was much easier for me if I just like hit it in the browser with HTML file." So you can feel free to go ahead and do that. Of course, you know me, I prefer to use an integration test because I'm crazy that way. And so then we'll write one of those real quick. We will say invoking post. Oops. Post creates an appointment book. An appointment. And now I need to do some other stuff. I need to say the following. Okay, there's my owner. But now I need to say response equals client dot create appointment. Oops. Jeez. And now what do I want to send to create appointment? Do I want to send a bunch of strings? I could. Yeah, whatever. So owner, description, oops, and let's create a local variable. Okay, string description equals description, begin time equals PM, end time equals this other dude. Create appointment with description, begin time, end time. Create appointment, all that good stuff. Ick. And here, well, let's unsupport operation exception, not implement it. We'll come back to this after we finish our test. There, and then we want to assert this equals 200. Remember that it doesn't do anything else. Now, in order to verify, now for the integration test to make sure that it was that the point was actually added, I can't go and get that point directly from the servlet object. This is running a different JVM, right? This is integration test. This code can't reach into the servlet like the unit test could. So instead, I've got to use the pretty appointment book as owner. And now this is where I need to say that not only does the content contain the owner, but it also contains the description, the begin time, and the end time. Okay, so I will, I will start my servlet container up again. I will run this. Unsupported operation exception. Yep, because it doesn't do anything yet. I will return, I will return the post of the URL with owner equals owner, description equals description, begin time equals begin time, and end time equals end time. And we need to probably throw some exception. Yep. Okay, that's all good. That's all good. Okay, let's try running this. Aha, okay. Expected a string containing description, but all it got was pre-canned owner. Why is that? So when I called, so where does it get to? So I mean, actually, it got pretty far, right? So it got all the way down here. So it was able to call the post. It calls create appointment, which does the post. So nothing blew up. It returned to 200, and then I said get the pretty printer, and it said that it got 200 after it pretty printed, and that the string contained the owner. Oh, but the string didn't contain the description. The pretty printer doesn't print it yet. Okay, so now back to the drawing board. Okay, so now we got to find the pretty printer. Pretty printer, and now we got to implement it so that it not only writes that, but then for appointment book appointment in book get appointment book appointments. Oops, what doesn't it like? Incompatible get appointments. Say what? Huh, wonder what's complaining about there. Oh, yes! What you guys saw. Yeah, roughed. Oh. Huh. Did I say this? Does that work? No, it doesn't like that. Okay. So I have to cast. Yeah, I'll fix that for future students. Abstract appointment book. And then appointment book equals cast appointment book of abstract appointment book. Now it's happy, and I'm going to say this dot writer dot print line. This is going to be the ugliest printer ever. So appointment book dot get description. Get begin time string. Get end time string. Okay. Okay, good. So now I'm implementing my pretty printer. I will run my test again. Ah, it failed again. Why did it fail again? What is this code testing? What is a test? The servlet. Test the servlet. Where is the server? Where is the servlet running? Oops. In my web container right here. What version of my code is my web container running? Stuff from like 5 minutes ago, back in the old days before I had my pretty printer implemented all the way. So what do I need to do? I need to stop my server and restart it. I think there are ways of like configuring Jetty or using other tools to like have it automatically recompile or whatever, but important lesson to learn, right? You're in distributed programming. You're dealing with two servers. Source code feels like it's in one place, but it's being run in multiple places. So these are all the kinds of things. I mean, this will happen to you, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's like you gotta learn the hard way. But just remember that now you're dealing with code that runs in all sorts of different places. So this is one of the advantages of writing that unit test first with all that crazy mock stuff. Because it's like there, it's like all one VM. You can sort of trust it and everything, sort of get everything ready there, and then have your integration tests sort of just work at the higher, work at the more gross level and do end-to-end sort of, validation. Okay, so now let's run it again. Hey, it's all green. That's neat. I'm also going to hit the URL just to see what happens when let's solve them. Oh, look, there it is, and it's pretty. Here's something else to be aware of. I'm going to run it again. It still passes. Oops, I'm going to reload it. Oh yeah, right. It got added twice because I ran the test twice. Yeah, just some things to be aware of. Remember, so this is like a long-lived program. So even though like my test is done, there's this persistent data that lies around. Okay. Okay. So let me. Yes, question.
So if you go back to the assignment, you're really posting to the second URL or to the first URL?
Well.
You're passing along those parameters. So if we were to do it on the web browser, we would pass along
If you were to do it on a web browser, well, you're doing a post. And so if you just put it into the URL and hit return, that's always going to be a get. So the way to do a post is to use an HTML form. So you can use the index.html. You can add more. Right, you got it. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I added an integration test that exercises the post method and implemented some more stuff on the pretty printer. Okay, I hope that helped. Any other questions I can, yes?
Does this support multiple letters? So multiple books?
This implementation will. I don't believe I test for that. So then the behavior of like, oh, you sent me a owner that that's different from the one I already know about. You can issue an error if you'd like. You can support multiple ones if you'd like. The assignment doesn't say. That comes up every term, and I think for next time I will just specify it differently. But yeah, I left that part out of the assignment. Okay. So if this stuff blows your mind, come back after break for the GWT, because that'll be even more mind expanding. Yeah. Let's take a break. Let's take 10.